Yeah. Monty here. Ctrl Alt Defeat.
All right, everybody. So this is Professor X. Really nice to be here at Malden Studios with Triangle and Uma. And I'm very excited to have two special guests with me on stage today. We have Bobby and we have my friend Gavin here. Gavin, why don't you say hi to the camera?
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you for the first time, and for the Starving Artist podcast group.
Excellent job. And my friend Bobby.
Salutations, fellow podcast users. It's so great to be here on such a glorious day to talk to you about the world of video games.
Yes. So this is a brand new podcast that's produced by the Starving Artist podcast, but this is called Ctrl Alt Defeat. So we're going to be talking about the culture and the world of video games, PC gaming, Nintendo. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to ask these two fellas, these expert residents in video gaming, and we want to hear from you all as well. But first, when you think about video games, what is your earliest, your fondest memory? Let's start with Bobby.
I remember one of my fondest memories was when I played my first game when my sister had a GameCube and she gave it to me and I played the game Shrek 2 on the GameCube. It was like one of the best beat 'em ups I remember.
Okay, and Gavin, what was just some of your fondest memories playing video games?
Well, what I know about of my favorite video games is that back then, years ago, I used to be a huge fan of playing PlayStation games, like PlayStation TV video games, and that's always fun. But now I play PC Steam games.
Ah, okay. So Steam. So a lot of people talk about Steam. A lot of kids talk about these chatting communities. Are you guys a part of any communities?
I'm part of the YTP community, but I also do dabble in Steam. I do love some of those PC games. I'm a big lover of Roblox.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, I mean, I like to what I like to do on PC is besides doing games, I like to make some good content and make it all animated of certain characters that are from video games.
Okay.
But the type of content I make are original and animated.
Yes.
Okay.
3D animated, to be precise.
And would you mind both of you telling us what your YouTube channels are? Because I know it's based on a lot of gaming and stuff like that.
Mine is Speedy Gavin. I like to make 3D animated content involving certain characters from Five Nights at Freddy's, My Little Pony, My Little Teenage Robot, and Poppy Playtime. Those are my 4 favorite categories that I use for my animated videos of certain characters.
Excellent. Bobby?
I make what's called YTPs, or YouTube. It's the oldest form of video editing / parody on YouTube. Take something that exists and remix it into something surreal, bizarre, and/or random, with hints of vulgarity in there.
Gotta have the vulgarity. Okay, quick question too. Nowadays we see that there's a lot of video game movies that are being inspired by some of these things. Mario kind of comes to mind. Any video game movies that you want to see in the future?
That I'm not really sure, but I did hear that a new Finance at Freddy's movie is coming in October this year.
That is true. And
What about you, Bobby?
I loved seeing the Mario movie. It was a great movie, definitely definitely deserving the $1 billion it made. And also, I like to, in this new FNAF movie, I remember everyone on Twitter was complaining about, oh, they have red eyes instead of their normal eyes. Like, can't you be satisfied for once in your life, people of the internet?
Hey, you know what? You can't troll the internet because the internet always remembers. So, on to my next question. When you think about like PC gaming, is it still relevant? Like, I know a lot of people like Nintendo, they like the PlayStation and Xbox. Is PC gaming relevant?
Now, here's the thing. PC gaming is more common than ever. The phrase PC master race exists. And, like, here's the thing. That's why no one plays Xbox anymore. Because why play Xbox and Microsoft when you can just buy a laptop and play it even better and just take the controller and use it for the PC? Like, there's no reason Xbox really exists now. Sure, PlayStation exists because they have exclusives, and Nintendo exists for the sole reason that they have specific characters you'd like Mario, Pokemon, Zelda. Like, you can't get that on a PC unless you have an emulator, and even then, it's really hard to get a working emulator on your laptop.
Yeah.
Wow. An emulator. What's an emulator? I'm scratching my head here.
It's basically like an app that you use on like a PC or a laptop that you use to launch old games.
So like retro gaming is like Sega,
Yes.
Nintendo.
Yes, that.
Yeah, I'd say that's my generation. I like the Mega Mans of the world. Super Mario Brothers, of course. Does anyone remember like Duck Hunt? Does everyone remember?
Everyone remembers that horrible dog that makes you feel like trash every time you miss.
Yeah, I loved Duck Hunt. Those are some of my earliest memories. Tetris. Are you guys any Tetris fans?
Well, I've heard of Tetris. I just don't play it a lot.
I have a friend who likes Tetris.
Oh man, Tetris I'm the king of Tetris. I gotta play you guys. Man. Actually, you know what? My wife is actually very good. She's beaten me a couple times, and she put me to shame. So, but there's a large community out there that loves these retro gamings. Quick question, because I know there's a lot of kids that they listen, they go on Discord, they go on some of these platforms. What is it about Roblox? I can't understand. I'm a little bit older. What is it about Roblox that makes it such a fun game? Like I don't get it.
Here's the thing. It's not such a fun game. It's any game you want. See, people like Minecraft because you can build anything you want. Roblox takes a different approach. People make different types of game. Any type of game you could want from any different genre, there's probably a Roblox thing on it. Even a shooter game. I found this really interesting shooter game.
Okay. What about you? Anything about Roblox?
Well, I mean, I don't really play Roblox a lot because I'm more of into Gmod or VR chat.
I also do those as well. They're very good.
Yes.
Oh, Bobby's challenging you.
Yeah, I mean, Gmod is a virtual sandbox game where you can like play with certain ragdolls and stuff to spawn them.
Yeah, and people sometimes make different games on that as well.
Yeah, and sometimes people do role plays in Gmod, and in VR chat you can play with a lot of people around the world playing as certain avatars and going in certain maps.
Yeah, I like to do my role plays in Roblox, but maybe one of these days I'll give a Gmod role play a try.
Yeah, that would be cool because I've seen this popular YouTuber named Xman723. He makes really good Gmod role plays. They're
His
so
name
good.
is X-Man?
Xman723.
I'm the real X-Man. But
There's
go ahead.
another X.
Yeah, there's just a different person that makes Gmod role plays, and to be honest, his content is pretty hilarious.
Pretty good.
The
yeah.
name X-Man is pretty common. Like there are so many people who want to be hilariously edgy by calling them X.
I totally agree. My last question here is, as we're moving into, 2024, we're in the middle of 2023 now.
Yeah.
In the next 3 years, do you guys see a new video game system coming out, or what do you think kind of the future of gaming is going?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I just think the whole video system that's going on right now is pretty well done.
Exactly. And with Nintendo, it's really hard to tell if they're ever going to make a new system because they always like to be in secrecy with their work. Where some people on Steam, they tend to be see-through. Nintendo was never see-through with their products.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of Nintendo, I feel like they have so many classic characters that it's they've been the earliest.
Yeah, their classic characters, so to speak, tend to be their crutch in certain situations.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that first half conversation, really diving deep into what we're getting into. On the other side, after our intermission, we have a few more questions for the experts here.
The Starving Artist Podcast is a band of super talented, sophisticated rock stars. We aim to challenge ourselves and the status quo. Now, the Starving Artist Podcast Network is expanding nationally from New York City to Portland, Oregon, and broadcasting on local TV courtesy of Urban Media Art Studio right here in Malden, Massachusetts. Please support the movement by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Starving Artist Podcast, and follow us on Instagram at starving_artist_podcast. You can also find us on Patreon and listen to our podcast on Anchor, Apple, Google, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Rocky, Xavier, and I want to sincerely thank all who have been loyal ambassadors of the Starving Artist Podcast Network. But we ain't done, y'all. Stay tuned and check out the latest and greatest. This is your girl, Katrina.
Just open up the mic to the studio.
I recommend your book, Katrina.
Back to the studio. We're going to go to camera 3.
All right. So we are back. Ladies and gentlemen. And I'm having a great discussion with my friend Bobby and my friend Gavin. And we have a bit of trivia for these guys. And I want to test their brains and see just if they can figure out some of this trivia that I came up with on the internet. So my first question here is, it says the original name of Kirby was, so Kirby wasn't his first name. So it's either A, Powder Puff, B, Tinkle Popo, C, King Tut, or D, King DD. Let's start with you, Bobby. What do you think?
I think it was Powder Ball. It's just because the original Kirby wasn't pink; he was white because he originated on the Game Boy, where everything was white or green.
Okay, and just for our viewers, Kirby, you want to point out Kirby?
Yeah, Kirby is pink. He's the pink ball who sucks off everything up.
All right, Gavin, what do you think? A, B, C, or D? You need me to read them over?
Well, I mean, I'm not really much of a Kirby fan, so
Okay.
I don't really know much about it, so
Just take a stab at it.
maybe C.
Okay, you say King Tut. So the correct answer, we need a drum roll. The correct answer is Tinkle Popo.
Oh.
Tinkle Popo. I would.
No, I said Powder Puff.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said Powder Puff.
Like
yeah.
that couldn't be farther from. There was an enemy called Fofa. I do remember that, but I didn't know that Tinkle would be a good name.
Yeah, me either. Me either. I think it's a terrible name. Maybe that's why they rebranded it and called him Kirby. It sounded more manly. or
But then,
something.
but Kirby's not a manly name. If anything, Kirby sounds like a girl's name.
You think so?
I know there are gender-neutral names like Jessie, but I always thought of Jessie as a girl's name.
That's true. Yeah.
I named it.
All right. On to our next question. Here. Remember I was talking about Duck Hunt? We got a question about Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt got its start as a toy in this decade. Okay, so think about when Nintendo, I'm going to give you a hint. Think about when Nintendo first came out. A, the 50s, B, the 60s, C, the 70s, or D, the 80s. Let's start with Gavin first.
The 70s?
Okay, you say C, the 70s. What's your answer?
Well, the game came out in '80 alongside Mario, so I'm gonna go with the '70s because the
They
toy
are
was-
correct. They are correct,
Yeah,
ladies
I
and
knew
gentlemen.
it.
It was the 70s.
Yes.
All right. So he was doing a little deductive reasoning. What did you say? You said Mario came out.
Yeah,
and-
one of the original games for the NES was a combo cartridge of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And Duck Hunt was also the introduced for the NES Zapper, which is basically the gun.
You got
Everyone
me.
called it the light gun, or just simply the gun, because it's a gun.
All right. You get 1 bonus point for that.
Wow.
extra info there. All right. Let's go to our next one. Now they're going to get a little bit harder, gentlemen. A little bit harder. Now, question. What is the first Nintendo game to feature Mario in it? All right, Mario fans. Let's start with Bobby.
Donkey Kong.
Okay.
And
You know what? I didn't even read the answers there. A, Mario Brothers. B, Tennis. C, Donkey Kong. Or D, Wrecking Crew. Go ahead.
Super Mario Brothers.
Okay. Gavin says Super Mario Brothers. Bobby.
it's Donkey Kong.
I guess you're a Nintendo fan. It is Donkey Kong. Very
Yes,
good.
because back then, Mario wasn't known as Mario. He was known as Jumpman. And the original princess, it wasn't Peach. It was actually Pauline, his girlfriend.
Wow, I'm stunned. This is I'm getting my Nintendo art history here. Okay, next question, and I'll make sure I read the answers this time.
Okay.
What was the first Nintendo game to have a save feature? Now, this is not passwords. This is an actual onboard save feature. A, Dragon Warrior. B, Final Fantasy. C, Metroid. Or D, The Legend of Zelda.
I'm going to have to go with Zelda.
Zelda.
Okay, you go with Zelda?
Yeah.
Okay. It is D, The Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
Congratulations, gentlemen. I think you got all of them but like one right. So that's all the questions I have there. My last question to kind of wrap this conversation up is a great conversation about video games. I see you guys are very passionate. It seems like Bobby in his spare time is reading about, Nintendo history. You probably know who invented Nintendo. So if you were on a desert island, this is a tough question. If you was on a desert island and you just happen to have a TV, just happen to have a Nintendo system, what game would you play for that duration you're on the desert island? Take your time.
Maybe like Mario Kart.
Mario, it depends if I had Wi-Fi or not. That's the big fact. If I had Wi-Fi, I'd probably play, there's 3 candidates. If I have my Switch,
Let's say a plane flies by and you get Wi-Fi for 5 minutes. What game are you gonna play?
I think I'll play for the Wi-Fi one. I'd probably play a few rounds of Mario Kart. But if I want, I'll probably play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and catch a ton of Pokemon before I can beat the game several times. lot of cutscenes to keep me busy. It would last a long time.
I'd still go for Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. You know, I like that. I like that Mario Kart is just, it's a fun game, and it hasn't changed much either.
Well, I mean, it's been evolving.
Well, I mean, you still got the characters in these goofy-looking carts, and you're
Yes,
still throwing
that.
mushrooms and
Yeah, that, but it's just the scenes and the way the quality has been, that's been evolving.
agree, John.
Yeah, Mario Kart's actually in this cover. Like, why would you put Mario Kart in the same thing as Smash? That's not right.
Yes,
that doesn't
yes.
make sense.
You know what happened when I just grabbed the games? They were just in there, but they weren't supposed to be open, gentlemen. They were just supposed to be like this. So,
Yeah, just as props.
just as props, you got it
got-
there. You're exposing me, Bobby. You're exposing me.
It's
All right.
not right.
It's not right. It's not right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're so glad that you were here listening to this video podcast. It's a first of its kind, a pilot of its kind. I have Bobby, the expert, and then I have my friend Gavin, who's the expert as well, who helped with some of the graphics that we're going to see on this podcast. But thank you, gentlemen. This was a really good time, and I'm glad that we were able to get to know a little bit more about the video game community.
Thanks.
Yeah,
All right.
anytime.
Anytime. All right. I'm Xavier, Professor Rex. We're signing off.
Bye.
In tonight's Five for Good, a new program for young people with autism, why the need is so great right now, and what sets this program apart.
This is the cafe and lounge.
Bobby Donald offers a tour of a space he's come to love.
I have a backpack. Sometimes I pack my laptop and bring it in here for a change of scenery.
This is the home of the PRISM program, which serves young adults with autism who have aged out of school programs and are seeking more independence.
It's just nice because ever since I left school, I've just been home all the time.
Bobby, who's 24, has a part-time job. He enjoys enjoys video games and video creation. He has skills he'd like to grow.
Everybody knows what it feels like when you get out of high school, right? When you're 18, you all of a sudden, you dropped off a cliff. Oh my God, now I'm in the world, right? These kids, it takes them a little bit longer.
The PRISM program, which is free to those eligible, opened in late March of this year. The state partnering with Triangle Inc., a nonprofit that's been serving people with disabilities for 50 years. The idea was to fill a growing need.
The diagnosis of autism has just exploded in the past 20 years, especially in the early 2000s. And now all those people who have been diagnosed are now turning, 18, 22 and are looking for services.
Here, participants have freedom. They can drop in when they wish. The program is flexible.
Most traditional day programs are designed to support as many people as possible within the service model. Here it is very member specific and member driven. Staff, myself, they work with members to set their own schedules, what they would like to work on.
It's giving them an opportunity to get out there and be out of the home and have some control over their own life. And I think that's what a lot of our kids need.
Bobby is quick to point out messages of encouragement here that he takes to heart.
Focus on the good is a good one, and don't you dare give up. That's a nice one too.
At PRISM, he says he's found individual friendships and something larger.
It makes me feel like I'm part of a community.
Yeah, Bobby really enjoys being there. So right now, the PRISM program, it serves members from the Metro North area, also the North Shore. There's hope the program will expand.
Remember the big YouTuber, he once said, you can't release the game that's unfinished. That's what you far from the
All right, let's go to our next one. Now we're going to get a little bit harder, John. A little bit harder.
Their podcast is going to be called Ctrl Alt Defeat.